is Eleni, and welcome to my new YouTube series called Live in Truth. So, first of all, I want to explain why I am doing this series. Then, I want to talk about what is truth. And every single week, I'm going to be taking you through the stages of truth, the 8 truths which I have written about in a new book which is yet to be published, and everything that led to my understanding of what is truth. And so for me, truth is my highest value. There is nothing more important to me than truth. And the reason I'm doing this series is because recently I went to Kenya on a transformative experience, and there was one particular evening where I started to hear the land of Africa speak to me. I started to hear the sounds through the wind, the trees, the river. The whole place was vibrating with messages for me. And I kept hearing the phrase, live in truth, live in truth. And I decided that that was going to be my theme, and that is going to be what I always talk about. Because in this day and age, there are so many perspectives on what truth is. And so, before we talk about the stages and the 8 truths and how I came to my realizations and my spiritual awakenings and all the rest of it, let's just define what is truth. And I feel that the only way to define what is truth is to define what it is not. So, what truth is not is a story. What truth is not is a story about the past. What truth is not is a story about the future. What truth is not is a story that changes over time. So truth cannot change over time. Truth remains true for all eternity. And so if I can give you an example of what that means. So if, for instance, we love somebody and then 5 years later we hate them, did we ever love them? Was there ever love to begin with for that person? Or was that love dependent on certain conditions being met, and therefore it wasn't real? So it wasn't true. And so what truth is to me is unchangeable. It lasts for all eternity. It doesn't reside in our head. It's not based on conditions. It's not based on attachments. It's based on this feeling that we know is absolutely true within us. It's an overwhelming feeling of love. And so within truth, there is no hate. Within truth, there is no judgment. Within truth, we don't look at one person and say, that person is a bad person and that person is a good person, because that's just a perspective. That is not the truth. And the truth can't have more than one perspective. The truth can only have one perspective, and that one perspective is love. And love is unchangeable. And so with all the things that are going around in the world at the moment, and in the political arena, in Hollywood, everywhere, people are always grasping, well, what is true? What is fake? You can't miss the truth. With the truth, you are in this feeling of absolute knowingness. It's a resonance. Have you ever heard something and then you've just known that is the truth? That's because you resonate with the frequency of truth. And how about if you're speaking to somebody and you just know that they're lying to you. You just can feel it. And you don't know why you can feel it, but you just can. Again, it's a resonance, it's a feeling, it's a vibration. And the vibration of truth has to be felt. And anything else is not truth. And so when I was in Kenya, I had a very strong message from the land. And the land said to me, and I've done other videos on this, but this is part of this series, so I am going to tell you this story. The land said to me, and I could hear it very, very clearly, and she said to me, Mother Africa said to me, you cannot be half in and half out of truth. So what that means is that you cannot sort of believe the untruths and still be in truth. And I know that I was doing that, that there were things that I was believing to be true, which were fear-based. Anything that is fear-based is not the truth, because the truth is no fear, no hate, no judgment. And so if there's any kind of fear that you're holding about anything, and the fear could be about absolutely anything. So for me, the fear that I was holding at the time that I received this message was a belief that perhaps, I could get sick in Africa. And that's why I took 5 vaccines before I went to Africa and malaria tablets whilst I was in Africa. And when I heard that huge statement, which is you can't be half in and half out, because if you're half out, you're completely out. You can't be half in truth. You can't sort of say, oh, I believe in truth and I believe in the universal truth of abundance and love and fearlessness, and then still hold this fear somewhere else that you might get sick. Because any kind of belief system which you hold, which says you might get sick, actually takes you towards that reality of being sick and takes you into the illusion of untruths. And so I knew that that night, no matter what, I was not going to take any more malaria tablets. I was not going to take any more Travelex tablets every time I ate something. And I knew with absolute certainty that I am safe, that I am protected, that I don't need to live in this illusion of fear, because that's what fear is. It's an illusion. And so for me, I had a spiritual awakening back in 2021, 7th of July 2021. So with awakening, for those of you who have had spiritual awakenings, there's levels of spiritual awakenings. So we first live in the illusion and we think that the illusion is the truth. And then we start to awaken from the illusion where we see synchronicities, we see miracles, we start to understand that there is another level and we are not alone, that we are protected. There's something else going on. There's a higher force here at play, but we still don't understand how that all works, but we keep getting signals, we keep getting signs, we start to trust ourselves more than we trust what's been said to us. So then we're sort of shifting out of that first stage of truth, which is untruth, and move into that kind of awakening where we start to see that, oh, there's much more to this than I actually thought there was. And I had that kind of awakening for the last 20 years. And then in 2021, it was like this catapult into this new awakening, whereby I actually went through the veil and I saw the truth. I saw the illusion very clearly, as if it was all on a stage. And that is a story for another day. But I saw my life as a movie. I saw that the ego within me was controlling my life. I saw that the soul within me was suffocated and could not breathe. because the ego was controlling everything. The ego was running the show. The ego had this illusion of separation. The ego believed in lack. The ego believed in, I'm separate to you, I'm better than you, I'm worse than you, I'm not as good as you. All those stories that are just program stories that humanity is conditioned to believe to keep us small. And so, this is why this series is so important to me, because it is all about what is truth, what are the stages of truth, what are the 8 truths that I learned during my spiritual awakening. And then, what I'm going to do once I go through all of that is look at current events and how can we see those current events through the lens of truth as opposed to the lens of the illusion, which is the matrix, which is where we've all resided and where most of us still reside. So how can we help each other get out of this illusion and the matrix to the truth of who we really are? Because the truth of who we really are is so much more powerful than who we think we are. And that power has been stifled, has been pushed down, has been quashed through thousands of years of programming on the human, where we are made to believe that we are this small and that we all need to be against each other, and that I better take care of myself because if I don't, then I'm going to fall behind. And this status structure that we all believe in, which says that if I am earning more money than you, then I'm better. If I have more followers than you, I'm better. If I have more degrees than you, then I'm better than you. And that's all just part of the programming that we've been programmed to believe is true, to keep us stuck in the matrix, to keep us working hard, working hard, working hard with our eyes closed, our hearts shut, and feeling as if there is only one purpose to life, and that is to make more money, become successful, tell everybody we're successful, and then we die. So there is so much more to it than all of that. And that's why this series has been created. It's because we cannot be half in and half out. We have to be completely in truth. And so when we are completely in truth, we are feeling the vibration of our heart. We are feeling the vibration of our own resonance. We tend to be more quiet than speaking, because when we're silent, we can hear our soul. When we're speaking or listening to others speak, we're actually hearing the programming, the ego, all the judgments for ourselves and for others that keep us separated from the truth of who we really are. So really, this first episode today is all about the purpose and the passion behind me bringing this finally to you guys. And there's been a lot of reasons as to why I haven't brought it earlier, even though I've had my awakening earlier. And it is because of blockages and stories that we believe to be true, which is that, well, why am I sharing this? No one's really interested in talking about these types of topics. But all I know is that it's taken me a long time to really get clear on what's important to me and why I need to share that with the world. And for me, the most important value that I have is truth. Now, that's not to say that I've always been truthful in my life. In fact, I really believe that this passion of mine of truth has really arrived at this point because I have in the past done many untruths, like we all have, and it's about saying, yeah, I am human and this is what I have done in the past, which is not truthful, and knowing how bad it feels like to not be truthful, and knowing how far away that is from the truth of who we really are. Because the truth of who we really are is a soul that is derived from God. And this God has no judgment, has no hate, has no preference for its children. We're all equally loved because we're all equally worthy, because we were all born worthy. We don't have to do anything to be worthy. And so, what I'm going to be taking you through in the next episode is the four stages of truth as they have arrived in my life. How I've moved from the illusion of the matrix to this understanding that really we are on this playground called planet Earth, that we are all here to experience something, and we take everything so seriously, and there is nothing to take serious. Yes, we're having this human experience, and the human experience, although it's very joyous and very euphoric at times, it's also very painful and devastating. And that's part of the magic of the human experience, is that we get to experience all of that on this magical playground called planet Earth. And it's about seeing everything from the perspective that we are here to experience. We're not here to prove. We're not here to achieve. We're not here to succeed. We are not here to make as much money as possible when we can't take that money back with us to our next life. But all of that, this is the paradox. All of that is available to us. All the abundance in the world, all the experiences in the world are available to us if we connect to the truth of who we really are, as opposed to believing that we are small and that we have to play this game the way that we've taught to play it, when there is so much more to the way that the game needs to be played. It needs to be seen as a game, and then you can win the game. If you don't understand that the game's a game, you can never win the game. You'll always be stuck in levels that you don't need to be stuck in. There's always another level to go up. And how we upgrade ourselves, how we up-level ourselves, how we move up to the next level of the game can only be done when you know you're in the game. And so that's what this series is going to be about. I would love, if you've been listening to this, to put as many questions as possible. And this is going to be on at the same time every single week. Every single week, there's going to be another episode. So next week, I'm going to be taking you through the 4 stages of truth, because that's how we recognize that we are in a game. And you can only win the game when you know that you're in the game. Because this, my loves, is the game. This is not it. What you see is not it. There is unseen forces that are at play here. And it's a wonderful, magical experience to be in this game. It's an honor to be in this game. There are so many souls that wish they could be down here playing this game, but you were selected, I was selected to be on planet Earth, to be playing this game, so we could experience everything there is to experience, so that we can awaken to the truth of who we really are and play this game wide awake. And there is so much magic and joy when you play the game wide awake, because everything that you see is entertainment. And all the political stuff that everybody's getting so fired up about and hating on each other about is simply entertainment, and it's just the game playing out. And when you see that, and when you recognize that, there is no suffering. There is no suffering. And of course, there is periods of suffering, because we go back to being the human, and then we realize that we're actually just watching the human play the game. So there's so many different levels to this. I have written a book which I have not yet finished called The Eight Truths. Truth is my biggest passion. It is my highest value, and there is nothing more important than speaking about what is the truth. And so if this episode resonated with you, please give me some love. I will turn up at the same time every single week. Any thoughts, perspectives, questions in the comments below. Sending you so much love.